Hello, welcome to another episode of Mr. Hill coming at you live from his spare bedroom. This video I'm going to quickly look at strong entities as opposed to weak entities. Also strong relationships as opposed to weak relationships. So let's just have a quick look here. And I'm just looking at the notes booklet here. I think the easiest way, again, is just to look at examples here. So strong and weak is to do with primary keys. That's what it's all about. A strong entity is one which has a primary key that consists entirely of attributes which belong to that entity. A weak entity has a primary key which includes attributes which are from another entity. By that I mean it includes foreign keys. So you can read this yourself, but let's look at a couple of examples here. I think explain it a bit more quickly, a bit more easily, I don't know. Okay, so example 1, car rental. So we've got two entities, one called car, one called rental. What's important here, we don't have to worry about the whole scenario or any greater understanding of it than we've got here. Reg number is primary key for car. Meanwhile, in rental, we've got a compound key that is made up of date and reg number. Reg number is a foreign key, okay, so it's creating the link. Reg number is a foreign key, is part of this compound primary key. So therefore, car is a strong entity because it's just using reg number, its own attribute. Rental is a weak entity because it uses date, but date on its own wasn't enough. It also needs reg number. And reg number is from this other entity. That makes rental weak. It depends on car. Okay, if it can't get a reg number from car, then it can't create a primary key. It can't create a unique identifier. So it's weak. It's pathetic. It's useless. Okay, the way we indicate that on an ER diagram is just we use a dashed line instead of a solid line to show the relationship. You can see this one's still got the cardinality here, one car to many rentals. We know that because foreign key is the many-sided relationship. I haven't included the relationship participation there, but we could include the mandatory and optional stuff. I imagine, let's have a quick think. So car would be mandatory, would you say? A rental can't exist without being linked to a car. But rental would be optional. We can have details of car without it ever having been rented. So we could have the little bar there and the circle here to indicate mandatory and optional. Okay, let's have a quick look at another one, supermarket. This, by the way, sorry, just going back to this for a second. Rental is a weak entity and therefore it has a weak relationship with its owner entity. Its owner entity is the one that it's depending upon to create a primary key. Okay, so it's depending upon car in order to be able to create its primary key. So car is its owner entity. Just a useful term there. Of course, one way out of this, one way of stopping it from being a weak entity, I'll give you about half a second to think of it, is we create a surrogate key. So instead of having this compound key, we create a surrogate key called rental ID, and there we go. We've got a strong entity and a strong relationship. Okay, let's look at example 2. The supermarket one. Okay, so it's got a few, let me just get rid of these, should have done it before. It's got a few entities in this one instead of just 2. There we go. So, sale has sale ID as a primary key. It only exists in this entity, so sale is a strong entity. Item, same idea, it's got item ID, so item is a strong entity. Transaction, God, it's pathetic. It is weak. It needs to make up its primary key, which is a compound key here. Okay, it needs a foreign key, the one from item, and it needs a foreign key, the one from sale. Okay, so it is really weak. So when we draw that in the ER diagram, we've got again, I'm just using the foreign keys to identify the many sides of the relationship here. We've got a weak entity, and it's got a weak relationship to this owner entity and a weak relationship to this owner entity. Okay, and you might actually be able to identify that that's actually a many-to-many relationship. Basically, that is, one sale can have many items, and one item can be included in many sales. This is what we call a join table, a junction table. It's called various things. Okay, it's how we actually implement many-to-many relationships. Finally, example 3. So we've got a video rental shop. I took this from a really old paper, I think. A video rental shop. And we've got an entity called film and an entity called tape, as in videotape. So again, let me just get rid of those distracting spell checker underlines. There we go. So film has just got film code, so a nice surrogate key there as its primary key. So that is a strong entity. Meanwhile, tape has a compound key made up of copy number and its foreign key there. Okay, so that is weak. It's depending on the film. Now, how are we showing it here? There we go. Tape is weak, and we've got a dashed line to show the weak relationship between tape and its owner entity. Okay, that's it. Thanks.